Hi there once again. Great to have you with us. This is Leading Edge. I'm your host, Jeff Smith. What would you say if I asked you to name the buzzwords of 2025? I would argue around Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, those words would have to be data and center. According to The Post, which is an independent newspaper in Athens, there are currently 194 data centers in Ohio, the fifth most of any state. I had an interesting conversation with Lucas County Commissioner Pete Gerken this week on that exact topic, as well as a few others, as you will see. But I wanted to get his take, and right out of the gate, he told me what he would like to see happen in the new year.
I think the county needs to be more involved in the message than we are. Certainly, we're not the townships. We don't make the final decisions, and I'm an advocate for people making local decisions. It's best for the community. I think because there's been so much rancor and noise and information about this that I'm going to suggest that the county be involved in some process of saying, let's just step back for 90 to 120 days. It's not against data centers or for data centers. We have a rare opportunity here. Some see it as a threat. I get that. Some see it as an opportunity. I get that. There are major corporations that want to come and locate their stuff here. That hasn't happened since the manufacturing craze of the last century. We are better because we had Jeep plants and LOF plants and glass plants, and our community got built around that. This is kind of a newer version of that, actually less intrusive than a smoking Jeep plant or a emitting Jeep plant. What are these data centers? How are they built? How do they live next to their neighbors? How do we get an even-handed message out there? The people that are against them have done very powerfully, sent a message that their collective, see it as a threat. I'm pretty convinced, Jeff, there's other people out here whose voice hasn't had a safe place to talk about it yet, that see it as an opportunity. So I am not declaring for or against. What I'm saying is our job as county leadership to create a space, which I'm going to work with my other county commissioners over the next 2 weeks in January, say what platform can we develop through our economic development department.
Well, let me ask you this.
Bring it all to one place, and then let's people make rational decisions.
Let me ask you this. If you guys go on record as saying we want 90 to 120 days, a moratorium is what I'm hearing out of your mouth.
Pause.
A pause. But what's to say that Meta, that Google, whoever is in the possibility of setting up shop doesn't just say, well, we'll take our stuff elsewhere. If you guys can't make a decision right here, right now, then so be it.
Look, I've been around these developments. One of the advantages of being around old is I've been around a lot, all right? And I've seen this before. We had a Jeep plant we were trying to site in the 90s. And it went down to the last minute, but because people didn't give up on getting good information and then transmitting it back, we kept it here. There were some that didn't want it. If you remember the Jeep plant, we took 87 homes and 17 businesses out to create that. That was a ruckus, and it should have been. I think there's such an opportunity. I think they would welcome a rational discussion in a community that all sides are safe and bringing their elements to the table. I think they would welcome this. If you're going to do development, you have to have clear, consistent standards in the geography that you're locating. We don't have that now.
You're saying Lucas County or Toledo proper doesn't have that?
I'm saying Lucas County.
So where is the lacking? Where is the voice that doesn't exist for the positive, right? The not so much misinformed. There was a recent article in the Blade talking about how these things are going to create their own energy. They're going to tap into gas pipelines, the Nexus pipeline down in Wood County, specifically for the Meta property. So that we have an abundance of. All this talk about water being poisoned and whatnot. Where are you on all that?
Well, I just want to get to information that's true and accurate. And I've spent some time, I was in Columbus last week meeting with commissioners that have built these in their communities. And what I learned from them, they started out much the same way, that there was a loud and vigilant and righteous, I'm not disrespecting the voice, saying we don't want them here. What they found out was they were initially ill-equipped to deal with the powerful corporations that were coming to them. And I get it. If you're a township trustee and you're working as a lawyer and accountant and you're a township trustee at night, you don't have the same resources we at the Board of Commissioners have. I have staff. this is my full-time job. I'm not diverted. I think we need to be that resource. Think about it. Billions of dollars of investment is going to be decided in this community by a handful of township trustees and village councilors and zoning people. That's the truth. Billions of dollars are going to rest, and these are tough decisions for folks to make. And I think they want to be supported in saying, how do I get all the information? What I've learned from the other counties is it's not how it starts, it's how it finishes. And when they put standards in on lighting, when they put standards in on mounding and landscaping, when they put standards in on noise, they got a product that they could live with. It's not going to happen next to Waterside, maybe, that is so adjacent to a community, but there's lots of land out there. We have an opportunity for finally corporate America to come to the table and bring money the way we want them to bring it to it. And I don't want to miss that opportunity. If it takes a pause and we can kind of lead that discussion, it's our job to do it.
I'm hearing you set the table in 2026 for something like this. Are you bringing all of these parties together? How is that something that's in motion right now?
Right now, it's a notion that I have, and I'm going to work with my fellow commissioners and township trustees to do it. But I think I don't mind telling you first and today that I think it's time that a broader voice steps up that looks over the whole county. I've had the background. Look, I've been run off 4 jail sites, Jeff Smith, when I tried to build a jail. And that's true. I understand the power of community voices, and I had to learn to listen some different ways. I want to bring that experience. I remember when I was set upon for building an arena downtown and not on the east side. I remember when we built a Jeep plant that took 87 houses and 17 businesses. I want to use my experience, strength, and hope, along with my fellow commissioners and our staff, to bring some rational discussion in a safe place. And I don't mean we have to go to every community center or high school gym and get yelled at. That's not a good way to make a decision. It's happened, and that's fine. We can do better. We can have a better discussion about this.
What did you learn from when Sylvania Mayor Mark Fry came in? I know he gave a presentation a couple of months back. I mean, was that the start of this learning process for you guys?
I think that was a very good start, and his message was clear. These are going to get built somewhere or everywhere. You're going to pay the electric bill behind it, whether they're in your community or not. You can offset those costs to your community if you get investment on the backside. If they're willing to come in and run water and sewer lines for Berkey, Richfield, Waterville, Oregon, pick a community at their expense, that's less taxpayer. We all know there's a taxpayer revolt going on right now, Jeff. I get that. If you don't want to pay taxes and you want to improve your community and you want to grow, somebody has to pay for it, right? Maybe there's an opportunity to have corporate America pay for that.
Coming up next, a victory lap of sorts for the commissioner and what he says inspired him about an ICE detention facility or an ICE detention in Wisconsin. That's coming up next. Welcome back. Earlier this week, WTOL 11's Michael Sandlin traveled to the Correction Center of Northwest Ohio after we got a tip a Wisconsin woman who was picked up at the U.S.-Canadian border was being detained. There was a grassroots effort to get her released because she is not a violent criminal, and Commissioner Gerken says he believes there are others.
This case is the poster child for everything that's wrong with the ICE and deportation policy we have now. It was set up, they were put on us that we are going to jail the worst, the baddest, the worst, right? We're gonna take them off the street. Elvira Benita Sanchez Suarez has been in this community for 35 years from Sheboygan, Wisconsin, made a wrong turn on a trip to Niagara Falls, got apprehended at the border. She's paid taxes, she's had a job, she has no criminal record. She may have been undocumented. She came here at 15 years old, escaping abuse from her fathers and uncles in Mexico. Her mother died. She brought her 9-year-old sister with her. Suddenly, since July, she is incarcerated based on a mistaken crossing, trying to get to Niagara Falls. She's had several immigration hearings. The immigration judge has ordered ICE to produce what's called a biometrics test. This is a background check, right? To verify she is who she says she is. It's been 8 weeks since they've been ordered to do that. She has a hearing on Friday of this week, past this taping, where they finally, after our outcry at CCNO today, which your station helped bring light to, thank you, by this afternoon, they found her test suddenly, her biometric test, and will be presented to the judge on Friday. Hopefully by the time we air this, she will have been released. But it's the poster kid. This is what we got at CCNO. I doubt we have many, maybe a few, rapists, murderers, gang leaders. This is a symptom of the illness that ICE detention and lack of due process brings us is Elvira Benita Suarez, 35-year-old wife, mother, grandfather, no criminal record, detained since July, and ICE refusing to unlock the gate for her with a test they already had.
You said she's from Wisconsin originally. She lives in Toledo?
No, she lives in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. She got detained here because she was going to Niagara Falls. GPS map took her up I-75, and there's a famous exit off I-75, go to the Ambassador Bridge, takes you right to customs. You can't turn around if you've made a mistake. GPS took her into that. She was on the All-American road trip. I'm going from Wisconsin to Niagara Falls with my husband. They both ended up in jail. He got released last week.
How many more cases are like this? You said this is the quintessential case, but are you convinced there are more?
I'm starting to get information based on our involvement in this. There may be more right at CCNO.
And it's come to my understanding that there is this Justice League group, talking with our reporter Michael Sandlin, that is reaching out to these detainees. Can you tell me anything about that?
Sure, this gives me some faith in democracy again. When there's a grassroots group, it's in the rural counties, not in urban Lucas County, but in the 4 rural counties have come together through their own citizen initiative to do the research and gather information, sign petitions, bring information to the elected officials. This is a power of democracy. And I think what we saw today was a great combination of a grassroots group, an engaged elected official, and a free press that got something done in 2 hours time that took 8 weeks before. I think that's a victory for all of us.
Are you against the immigration enforcement? Are you just against the way it's being handled?
I am against the fact that for 20 years we have no immigration policy that allowed us to reach these depths where we're just picking up people that are not a threat to our society, we're probably a benefit to our society in jailing them. I'm not going to say one side or another. We have lacked informed immigration policy here for 20 years. But the fact that this administration has taken this brutal approach to grab everybody and sort it out later, that's not what America's about, and that's not protecting us.
Let's talk about the jail, specifically Lucas County Jail.
We have one, yes.
I know. How positive are you that we've been reporting that renovations are to start first quarter, second quarter of 2026? Are we finally going to get something done?
Yeah, we've engaged with firm. We're going to get the report back on what you need to do when and first. I mean, it's a project that's going to get eaten in pieces. We couldn't afford $300 million. I don't regret making that decision, just with all the lack of property tax revenue that may be coming, all the headwinds that we have, we would have been foolish to take on a project we probably couldn't have paid for in the long run. So what do we do next? We try to make that thing the best that we can. We're engaged in that process. They'll give us the reports of what needs to be first. I've set aside, we have money in our budget for this year to do substantial improvements. We're already doing the floor and the basement where there's water intrusion. We're already doing that. So it's actually started.
Are you, how, I guess, comfortable are you as far as the solvency of the county at this point? You've talked about federal funding in the past, and going into 2026, we hear all the, everybody's reading the tea leaves on where things have been, where things are going. What is your comfort level?
I'm cautious but comfortable. I think we've done a really good job in our budgeting process this year. We told our other elected officials, as we did on our own, to hold the line, to come in with a pretty flat budget. I understand that utility increases and healthcare increases have to be absorbed. You can't control those. But there are other costs they need to absorb. They've done that. Everybody except maybe the prosecutor has played ball with us on that. So I'm proud of that. We have reserves that are necessary right now. Whether they're comfortable or excessive is not true. We have the necessary reserve to take on whatever happens in the next year. If it's better than we think, then we've more than survived. We're going to thrive. But we have to be prepared. If there's a property tax rollback this year, that there's no property tax, everybody is going to lose. The county, the city, the schools, the mental health agencies, the development agencies, people are going to vote on the biggest defund the police issue in history. I don't people are going to do that, but we have to be prepared for that. And we are.
Is that one of the reasons? I'm going to take you back a few weeks? Commissioner Lopez, she put forth a move to give a couple of food banks $1 million. You and Commissioner Sebecki said, let's tap the brakes on that. Let's move that back. Let's make it 100,000. Quite a stark contrast, Commissioner, between what was being proposed and what you guys settled on.
Well, I think we knew that there's a possibility that other people were going to come to the table. And quite honestly, having talked to the food banks and the providers, they said, we can't spend $1 million right now. If you give us 100,000, we can put it in specific pots, feed kids at home through kids and meals and backpack programs. So I just listened to the people that do the work that said, we don't need $1 million to save it in case we need it. That's kind of the same thing with our budget process. We're going to save it if we need it, but it made no sense to put $1 million in play for a problem that over the next couple of weeks could have worked out and did get worked out. And I think our 100,000 was just right. We kept kids fed for a couple of weeks, and we didn't take $1 million out of play that wasn't going to get spent anyways.
All right, stay right there. When Leading Edge returns for this week, 2025 has been an interesting year when it comes to the automotive industry, and it's been a challenging year for local labor. We're going to let you hear from Commissioner Gerken and what he had to say about the Libby Glass workers' strike and what he says the strike isn't about. Welcome back once again. Great to have you with us as always for this edition of Leading Edge. Commissioner Pete Gerken, he worked the line of Jeep. He has been for labor for the entirety of his career, the ups and the downs. I asked the commissioner about the local automotive industry into the new year with all the changes that have happened in 25 going into 26. I also asked him specifically about the Libby Glass workers strike.
I'm going to give credit to those volunteer citizens that showed up for 6 months now at night in the cold and during the nice days of the summer to give their time to do it. We started with 27 people. We still have like 18 that show up regularly. That's really a commitment to do it. It's a complex system. It is one that people have to remember. Children's services and children welfare is the last stop on the railroad of abuse and neglect. It is the last landing place, right? So not only do we have to make sure that last landing place is as safe and as secure as it could be and it's functioning well, and it needs some work. I think they all do that. We're going to get some suggestions out of that. The committee will ask them to change some methods to do that they can. But at the same point, it's a good time to shine the light up to what happens before they get to children's services. Where are the protections in the society? Where are the protections in the family? Who does what? So children's services needs to restore trust. To restore trust, they need to change some things. I think this group is working very hard on that. And they just signed up last week to continue working almost another 6 months to do it.
Finally, Pete, you brought up kind of a revolution with data centers at the very beginning of this, as far as manufacturing is concerned. I want to ask about labor. We're sitting here today. We are months into this, months, plural, into this Libby strike. And your concerns, I guess, going into the new year as far as Stellantis, automotive, and where things sit right now. Because obviously there are some shifts in the wind.
I think at the Jeep plant, which is our bread and butter and my favorite industry in the world is a retiree, there's demand. Those people are working immense amount of overtime because there's demand for the product. I think Stellantis's leadership and over the last 8-9 months have made a radical shift to get back to the business that they had got from. The former CEO and chair was about price gouging and taking everything for a short term. New leadership there has said we're going to take, they brought down some prices. They're trying to get back into that portion of the market, and those communities working there. And I just met this afternoon before we with the Libby Glass strikers. These are men, women you should be proud of. It's not about the wages, and this is what the message we need to get to. They need working conditions and they need hours of work for work-life balance. The company has proposed to change all the rules and say, if you come in on a shift, we can hold you at our demand on your days off up to 18 hours a day. Wages are one thing. But people have to, and for you, the folks that never worked in a factory or not, go spend 12 or 18 hours in your own office. Think what it's like in a production line or something else. All they want is some dignity of work-life balance. The wages, they're going to figure out. They just have to. And I think we need, as a community, need to get a message back to that leadership that used to be local leadership here at Libby Glass and tell them that these workers are working hard for you. You got to treat them with some respect.
We appreciate the commissioner's time. We'll make a final word right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. Before we give you the email address, I want to take a moment here to say an early happy holidays to you, no matter your celebration, and an early happy new year if I don't see you before. I appreciate you and your support for our program each and every week. We take the comments you share on social media and through email to heart. But more than anything, I appreciate our team right here at WTOL for its commitment to the community and for our culture. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Leading Edge. By the way, if you do want to reach us, you want to reach the show with comments, ideas, suggestions, it's easy. Just send us an email to leadingedge, all one word, at WTOL.com. My name is Jeff Smith. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, listen, learn, and lead.